So the housing market has been warming up, but could a plot twist put it back into a freeze? Today we're going to do our article reveal written by Realtor.com, Claire Trespasso. So let's get into it.
Let's do it. You said article reveal, but it's also going to be an article review.
Same thing, right? I mean, similar thing.
This is what they are saying. Go ahead.
All right. So a surge in mortgage interest rates last year ground the real estate market to an abrupt halt as scores would-be buyers could no longer afford to purchase homes. But last month, as mortgage rates dipped and home prices fell from their peaks, home shoppers dipped their toes back in. We've seen that too, haven't we?
Yep.
Real estate agents across the country reported buyers returned to open houses and the number of mortgage applications surged and the most desirable homes received multiple offers again. And we have felt that. We really have.
Stuff picked up, phones started ringing.
Yes, we've been having people come out of the woodwork reaching out to us. All right, but then let's get on to the next part. Just because we've had a couple of weeks of positive news doesn't mean that the market is roaring back yet, he continues. We're still in the middle of a winter freeze.
Yes, they say the market typically picks up after the holidays and then takes off again in the spring, but on the precipice of the busy season, rising mortgage rates could drive the market back to a standstill. Large swings in rates often unnerve potential buyers and increase ease and increase, where did I miss that? Erase?
Any savings, yeah.
Thank you. Any savings they might have found just a week ago. An extremely frustrating experience for buyers.
Yeah. So
this next part details kind of like what pain they're going through.
Yeah. Rates had fallen from more than 7% last year to just below 6% at the beginning of February, according to Mortgage News Daily. But more recently, they climbed yet again, up to 6.43% by Wednesday for 30-year fixed rate loans. That change adds about $100 a month to the typical mortgage payment and nearly $35,000 over the life of a 30-year fixed rate loan.
So bottom line, $100 more a month for buyers.
Yeah.
That is going to make a difference. That is going to make them pause a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, it was good, right?
Yeah.
People were getting locked in the rates in the fives for most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that it's started to go back up, buyers are now getting nervous again.
Totally.
Is it going to cause them to be too nervous?
It's a good question.
Or are they still going to go forward because prices are getting low enough?
Yeah, and we've actually been having this conversation in our office, just literally this entire article review. So he goes on to say the true test will begin in March. Those looking for a new home generally begin or pick up their search during the warmer months, which is the prime time for real estate.
Yes.
Prices typically rise as buyers try to outbid one another on the larger homes framed by flowers in bloom that go up for sale. I like that analogy.
As you guys heard, mortgage rates were up a ton in the first couple weeks of January. Excuse me.
Yes. They were up the first week in January, and according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, they rose 45.6% from 4 weeks ago.
That's a big deal.
Huge deal.
That's a really big deal. And that's what we were feeling.
Mm-hmm.
The buyers starting to come out of the woodworks a little bit more, starting to get pre-approved.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's because the rates were low enough. Yes, I think the January 1st New Year's resolutions, let's get into the home, that definitely played a part of it for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But that extra high as rates start to go up, buyers get nervous, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
And they start to panic a little bit. Builders also experienced a boost.
Yeah.
The average rate of sales homes in new communities jumped 53% from December to January. Typically, that only goes up 24% over that same period.
Yeah.
So we saw builders get a lot more people come through, double the amount that typically happens during this time, but a lot of them had to cut their prices down.
I actually had that experience last week. Exactly what we just said with the builder. So, All right. So they go on to say the lack of homes for sale is holding the housing market back. Even as open houses around the nation begin filling back up again, buyers are running up against a shortage of properties for sale. They simply can't buy something that doesn't exist. And inventory is dropping.
Yeah, this is one of those weird, crazy things that inventory is actually dropping again in most areas. Here in Utah, we got all the way up to as high as 10,500 homes, and now we've seen consistent drops to under 7,000 homes. We're in the 6,000s now.
Yeah.
And that is not likely to change in the coming 12 months. If anything, it will continue to get lower inventory. And of course,
because so many are locked in at such a low interest rate.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. So, however, if rates dip below 5%, a psychological watermark for many buyers. You've always said that, by the way.
4.9%.
Yes.
4.75. If rates can be in the high fours, that is like, in my opinion, the magical formula that could create a balanced market.
Yes.
To where some of these people with 3% loans are going to decide, like, you know what, we can afford a 4.9, a 4.75%. That's doable enough for us. But if it stays in the fives and especially the sixes, and we're going to talk about maybe it going back up to the sevens again, that obviously is going to continue to cause a standstill in the market and prices to continue to drop.
Yeah, so they're saying that homeowners would be more likely if they do dip below 5, something you've always kind of said. So lower rates also boost the buying power of buyers. For every full percentage point drop, buyers can afford to borrow about 10% more. So.
Great thing for you guys to remember. Every point drops or it goes up, you're either saving about 10, you can either afford about 10% more or you can afford about 10% less. So last thing.
All right. So why mortgage rates are climbing again? It's a good question. Investors now believe that the Fed will jack up its rates for longer than they anticipated due to the better than expected unemployment report that shows the economy remains strong.
And this article was like a day early from when they just announced the economic data for inflation. And unfortunately, it did not drop like we were thinking. It was at 6.4. We were thinking hopefully it'd get to like 6 or 5.9, somewhere around there. And it actually came in at 6.5.
Ooh, it went up a little bit.
It went up a little bit. And this caused the stock markets to go down and it caused some problems. And no doubt, this is like the first hiccup in our wonderful plan of getting inflation under control is now going to show some bad signs that, like, you know what? They still probably have to keep raising rates or at least keep them higher for longer in order to squash that inflation. So that's what we're going to be watching. If I could just give you guys a quick mini outlook, that's going to be rates are going to go up in the next 2 months. And I've got a feeling that they're not going to look pretty. It's going to stay high. So expect them to go up to the high sixes in the coming months and maybe even back to sevens again. Which I thought we were going to be done with earlier, but it's more likely to come back than not likely.
Which is similar to what happened in the early 1980s, right? Yeah. Like it's a very similar.
As we study that report, they're like, oh, we're squashing inflation. And then it's like, no, not quite. Let's raise rates back up. Then they lower them back, so so we'll see how it turns out. Stay tuned and we will keep you guys updated on exactly what needs to be done.
Thanks, you guys.